Welcome everybody to the Bases and Brews podcast. I am Ben. He is Brandon. This is our weekly podcast where we talk about baseball and beer. We stream the show live every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/bases and brews, no spaces. Come give us a follow and watch us live over there. Or if you can't catch us live, we are on YouTube. Just search for the channel Bases and Brews podcast. Also follow us on Twitter at Bases Brews to get baseball news and updates about the podcast. And how you doing this week, man?
Tired, but I'm good. Giants had their actual season opener today. Or not their season opener, their home opener. So that was rad.
Yeah.
I wish I could have watched it though.
Same. I didn't watch the Indians home opener.
It
wasn't a great game, so.
Yeah, I was at work, so fortunately not much I could do.
That's the issue. Home openers are usually like middle of the day. But yeah. What are you drinking this week?
So this week we get another set from Fruition Brewery. Just because it's so close to my house and I was running so late, so I had to go back there again.
Totally understandable.
But the one I'm drinking today is called East Lake. I think it's like East Lake Lager. It's a amber lager.
Okay.
It's had a sip or two. It's pretty good, but it's really light. I didn't want to go too crazy this week. I've been drinking a lot of dark beers.
Yeah. I try to avoid dark beers most of the time.
I usually do too, but when I go in, I look at it and I'm like, man, that just sounds so good.
Yeah. I've always preferred IPAs and ales and lagers and stuff.
But yeah, so far it's pretty good. I got a sour for later if I get through all these and want to try something a little different.
Fair enough. I got this. It's a brewery that I had a couple weeks ago, I think, 512. They're in Austin one, but this one's like a giant, it's like a wine bottle full of beer. But it's a double IPA from them.
Nice.
So far it's pretty good. The more IPAs, the better. So doubles better than singles.
Yeah, I don't know if I've had a double IPA in a while.
No?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Any IPA I'm a fan of. Like, that's always going to be my first choice, so.
That's fair.
And drinking out of my Indians baseball bat mug.
I'm actually going to be probably ordering something similar to that here pretty soon.
Yeah, like a Giants one.
Yeah, the one I was looking at has like the Golden Gate Bridge with the SF logo like on top of it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it looked pretty dope. I didn't see how much it was, but I'm probably gonna pick it up. And I think it's a 16 ouncer, so it's a full pint.
Yeah,
which is nice.
These ones were as well. I have this one, and then I have one that's the Cleveland skyline. It has
nice.
The players of the team.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
Engraved between the buildings and stuff. It's pretty cool. Definitely really neat. But yeah. So let's get into it with our newest segment, Hot and Cold. I didn't really add many colds because it's the first week of the season. Like, I'm not going to judge anybody too hard here.
That's fair. Because I know one person I'd put on that list, but
yeah, there's probably a few that are really struggling, but like
Brandon Bell is like 1 for 12 with 7 strikeouts.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well,
or something like it's something's close to that. I know he's got 7 strikeouts. That was brutal.
Let's start with the cold then. Miguel Sano from Minnesota and Tyler O'Neill from LA, which I didn't write on there, but he's from the Angels. Both on pace for 324 strikeouts this season. The record is currently 223.
What do you know offhand what they're at?
number wise.
Yeah, like so far.
Give me 1 second. I meant to write it down and then I forgot.
Because I would bet money that Brandon Belt is in that group too.
He's probably close. Right now they are at 14 apiece.
Okay, he's not that bad. I think
14 in 5 or 6 games.
Ugh, that's tough. That's tough.
That's so bad.
That's super tough.
Yeah, Miguel Sano currently batting 111 with 14 strikeouts, 3 hits, 3 for 32 with 14 Ks.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's so rough.
But yeah, that's all I had for the hot ones. I just found that stat and thought it was kind of funny. Hot players, Shohei Ohtani. I actually don't know if he's doing great stat wise, but he hit and pitched second day of the season. Must have been, or we would have talked about it last week. Second or third day.
I think it was over the weekend, so I think it was like Saturday.
Yeah. But yeah, he currently still, I think, has the fastest pitch thrown by a starting pitcher at like 100.7. And then he has the hardest hit home run of the season at like the exit velocity was like 117 miles an hour or something. Like he crushed the ball.
So his home run, if I'm not mistaken, was 111.5.
Was it that low?
I think that's what it was. Or maybe it was 115.5, but it wasn't like
okay.
When he said it, or like when I heard it, I was like, really? He's got the hardest hit home run of the year?
Yeah. So also he is very hot because he's batting 552 right now. He's 16 for 33 on the season, which, wait, that doesn't make sense. That's not 552. How do they get this? Oh, that's plate appearances. At bats 29. He's walked 4 times.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. 8 RBIs and they've played 12 games? That can't be right.
No way.
7. Okay, wait. I think that might include. Oh, that was spring training. I'm sorry. It said 2021, and I didn't look past that. So he's batting 280 with 2 home runs already in 7 games. Still solid, but not 552 solid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to expect anybody to hit that well over the season,
of course not.
It's unfair.
Yeah. But yeah, he is also the first pitcher since the live ball era in 1900 to bat in the top 2 spots in the lineup, which that one actually surprised me because like Babe Ruth was a pitcher.
Yeah, but
like,
he was
I guess you just never had Babe Ruth outside of 3 or 4 in your lineup.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was 100% just a home run / power hitter.
But it just surprises me that like in those days, in like the 30s, 40s, that like none of those pitchers hit high in the lineup because like pitchers were fielders, like field players pitched. Like everybody just kind of moved around.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's true, but
yeah, that one surprised me. I saw that stat and thought it was a cool. I mean, it's technically a record, I guess.
I mean, I have a feeling if he can stay healthy and he doesn't get worn out, he's gonna set a lot of records.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, moving to the next guy, Yerman Mercedes from Chicago White Sox. He started the season 8 for 8, which is the longest streak in the history of baseball to start a season, which that surprised me too.
That I thought was nuts. I saw that and I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, that's since 1900 because like stats weren't kept before that. So, yeah, longest streak to start the season, And before this season, he'd only had one at bat, and I think he struck out. And he's a 28-year-old rookie. So like he's not like some high prospect who's like getting his shot. Like this is some old guy who's like not that good.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
I
just
mean,
a late
okay,
bloomer.
he just never got his chance. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Well,
he,
I find in baseball a lot. I mean, honestly, most of the major sports, teams give up on players sometimes. I think before they should.
fair. Now, I will say baseball is probably the one where that happens the least, just because you have the minor league system. Like you can just keep a guy down there for even if you demote him down to like double A or single A. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, good for him. 28-year-old rookie, and he's still, well, as of yesterday, he was still leading baseball in batting average. Let me see. Yeah, he's still there. He's batting 556 right now. So not too bad.
Well, we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he, starts to
If it,
taper off, but
well, I mean, you're not going
or
to
not.
maintain
Yeah,
that,
well,
but I
right.
mean,
But I mean, like taper off to where you
it,
would expect a 28-year-old rookie to be at like
yeah, that's
240.
kind of what I was getting at. It wouldn't surprise me if he dropped quite a bit.
But yeah, I don't know. Cool story though. Akil Badu from Detroit.
I thought this was pretty cool.
This was neat. So his first at bat, he blasted a home run. It was against the Indians, so I was watching the game. But he's a Rule 5 pick from Minnesota, so taking a Rule 5 guy like is a crazy rule, first of all. But like basically, for anyone who doesn't know, if you take Rule 5 draft is basically you can draft a minor league player that's on another team, which is crazy to me. But you basically steal their pick or their player, but he has to play the entire season on your major league roster.
Or he goes back.
If you demote him, then he gets sent back to the other team that you took him from. So
yeah, the Rule 5 draft has always been, I felt
it's
like
such a weird. I mean, it's rarely ever used, but yeah.
I hear people talk about it a lot though.
Yeah, I don't know even when it is. Like,
Be
it must
honest,
be
I don't
before the
either.
season.
I just always hear people talk about it.
Yeah, it's a cool thing, I guess.
I mean, it gives you the ability to grab a prospect you might want that another team is just not giving a shot to.
Yeah, I mean, it's rare that anything happens with it because if anybody's good, you put them on your 40-man roster, and then they're not eligible for that. So
yeah,
I think there's something like they have to be in the minor leagues for a certain amount of time too.
that wouldn't surprise
Like
me.
you can't like go take somebody's draft pick that they just drafted or something.
Oh yeah.
And those people aren't on the 40-man roster. So there's something else to it that I'm not positive on, but
Although,
yeah.
wouldn't that be some shit if you could steal draft picks that way?
That would be such bullshit though.
Like, they want to talk about making baseball exciting. There you go. There's your solution. Let people
Make
just
the
steal.
draft completely irrelevant.
You can draft who you want, but we're going to steal them and play them all
already
year.
relevant.
But the problem is you would never play someone a full season that you just drafted.
Right. But yeah. So yeah, he went off in his first 3 games. He hit a home run in his first at bat ever. And then he hit a grand slam, and then he had a walk-off hit all in the first 3 games. Like no player's ever done that. It's yeah, that one's nuts. But he's someone who is actually a decent looking prospect as opposed to Yerman Mercedes, who's like I think they brought Mercedes up because of the injury to, oh no, I can't remember his name. Eloy Jimenez? Whoever the outfielder is that went down for Chicago before the season started. But anyway, yeah. So like he was only brought up for that, and Badu is somebody that's actually a prospect. I think he's like 23 or something. But yeah.
Looks
And
like
then,
Detroit made a good little pickup.
yeah, they might have gotten a real steal if it works out. Then we move on to my guy, Shane Bieber, who's fucking lighting up the all of baseball right
Bro,
now.
Shane Bieber needs to chill the fuck out.
He has 12 strikeouts in both of his first two starts. He's the only player in baseball history to strike out 24 plus batters in the first two starts of back-to-back seasons. I think last year he had like 26 strikeouts. I think he had like a 14 and a 12 last year.
That's insane.
Like, dude's insane. And then I just saw this stat watching the game yesterday that he has 14 straight games with 8+ strikeouts going back to last year. So that's like all of last season, basically.
That's unreal.
He had at least 8 strikeouts in every start. I mean, well-deserved Cy Young last year.
Yeah,
There
right.
was nobody was debating who won that last year.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all there really was. He's just killing it. We can maybe touch on it later if we have time. I'll just mention it. He's on pace for like 408 strikeouts or something right now.
I mean, he's gonna chill out a little bit.
I mean, yeah, he's not gonna get 12 strikeouts a game, like, of course.
But that's crazy.
But I think the current, I'll just look at it really quick. The current record is Nolan Ryan at where are you? 383. Nolan Ryan, 1973. So he would, if he were to stay on base, which he won't, but he could also have like a 14 or 15 strikeout game to like make up for ones where he gets like 9.
Yeah, but
anyway,
easy there. There are going to be games where he only gets about 3 or 4 a game.
3 or 4 is a low number for Shane Bieber. I'm just saying. But no, I mean, if he were to stay on pace, which again, I don't think he will, but he would beat the record by 25 strikeouts.
Damn.
Which is a huge number when you're talking about like single season records. But yeah.
That dude just needs to chill out. He needs to realize he's playing for Cleveland and just relax.
Hey now. He is our only good player. You leave him alone. That's not true. We have Jose Ramirez too. But besides those two guys. And then the only other guy I have for who's hot right now is Nate Lowe from Texas, of all places. He has 14 RBIs in 6 games. His previous career high was last season. He had 19 RBIs total. He has 14 in 6 games.
Someone test that man.
So, yeah, he's on pace for 378 RBIs right now.
Yeah, that won't happen.
No, of course not. But that's another one. The record currently is doesn't say. It says who has the record, but it doesn't say the number. Weird.
That is kind of weird.
I'll look it up really quick.
While you do that, I'm gonna run and grab another beer.
Okay. 191 1930. That's a lot. 191 RBIs, man. But yeah, so that dude out here killing it right now for someone I've never really heard of. But that's honestly what's great about baseball. You get these random guys just coming in hot. Um, but that does it for hot and cold, which is our new segment. So yeah, we'll get into um, the weekly news, which is a little bit different than hot and cold. um, basically, let's start with some injuries. Yeah.
That sounds good.
All right. So Josh Donaldson, we talked about it last week because it was literally on the first pitch of the first game, but he officially went on the IR or IL. Ooh, typo. Used to be the IR. Now
Same
it's the
shit.
IL. Yeah. Um, Another one, Nick Ahmed from Arizona. I've actually never heard of him, but apparently he's really good. Uh, he went to the IL with a knee injury. I don't know. Maybe you know more about him than I do, but
I know that we've played them, but Arizona, I haven't watched the Giants play Arizona very much.
yeah,
They haven't really been incredibly good the last few years, just like the Giants haven't really been all that great the last few years.
yeah. I don't know. Apparently he's their starting shortstop,
But
but
I mean, that sucks. Knee injuries are
yeah.
never good, especially for middle infielders.
I mean, it looks like he's not a great average hitter. Looking at his stats, he's like a 250 hitter, but he hits like 20 home runs a year and like 80 some RBIs.
Bad when
So
that's considered good these days.
I know. I'm with you. We've talked about it, but yeah. Um yeah. Uh okay. My window just resized itself and it messed me up.
So Fernando
Yeah,
Tatis
yeah.
Jr. is also
Oh yeah.
going to
That's the
the
big one.
IL with shoulder. I don't even know how to fuck to say that. Subluxation.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh,
So I talked to you about it a little bit. I have this exact injury. I got it in high school playing football. So basically, what happens is your shoulder gets dislocated somehow. Like this probably happened to him a while ago. Like that didn't happen just now. And then your tendons in your shoulder stretch and then they don't go back when your shoulder like they don't tighten back up when your shoulder gets popped back in. So you have these loose tendons, which is what holds your shoulder in place. So anytime you do something that stresses your shoulder joint, it can pop out of place again. And it's very easy to pop your shoulder out when you have that. So he's not having surgery, they said. And he actually wanted to play the next day because, like, it doesn't really hurt.
your shoulder's
It,
more
it,
likely
it
to pop
hurts,
out, right?
right? It hurts when it pops in and out, but like, it doesn't actually, the injury doesn't hurt. It just is something he's going to have to deal with. Like, I did like 3 months of therapy and it didn't work. So, like, he might have to have something in the off season, like a shoulder surgery in the off season or something. But
So what his doctor is saying is the reason that they're not doing the surgery now is because most people heal up a little bit after
yeah,
the first one. He said, but if this isn't his first one, then there could be more issues and he's going to need surgery. And if he does get the surgery, it's basically GG's for the season.
yeah. Oh, yeah. He's done for the year because you would have to cut the tendons, cut like sections out of them and reattach them. Like it would be a long rehab.
Yeah, and it's not on his throwing arm, which is good. So
Correct,
even if he
yeah.
does have the surgery, the chances of him coming back is looking like it would be pretty good if he had to go that route.
Yeah.
But what I think they're going to do is they're going to put him back out there and they're going to basically hope and pray it doesn't happen again. And when it does, that's when he'll get the surgery.
Well, it's not something that like is going to get worse. Like once it's happened, it's happened. Like it's not really going to get worse by having it happen over and over. From what I have personally had happen, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I mean, I would bet that it doesn't get worse, but if the likelihood of it happening again is higher, then there's a good chance that Tatis Jr. at some point this year, unless he's very lucky, is going to get put on IR or on the IL for the rest of the season.
I wouldn't be surprised if he plays the rest of the season out and has this done in the offseason because it's not like a debilitating injury unless it happens really regularly.
No, but do you want to take that risk with your $100 or $300 million 14-year player?
Well, no, but I'm saying if you're going to have the surgery and it's not preventing him from playing, the surgery will still work the exact same in the off season as it will now. So if he can play, I think he'll play the whole season. Like playing the year isn't going to make the surgery be more or less effective. So if he can play, I feel like he will. But if it pops out every time he swings a bat, then obviously that's not going to work.
I think that's what some people are worried about. I mean, that's what I would be worried about, especially investing as much as they have in him.
Yeah.
But from the sounds of it, his doctor was saying that at this point, assuming this is his first one, which it very well could be, you never know.
Yeah. Although I don't think, I mean, I think he's popped his shoulder out before. There's no way that he popped his shoulder out swinging a bat if he didn't already have this.
So I don't know. See, but that's where I'm at. Like, that's why I'm like, just, you've got him for 14 years. Why would you put him out there risking a potential worse injury?
But I don't think there is anything worse. Like, I don't think this can lead to anything else. I think it just is. So, like, I don't think it's going to make it any worse by playing.
I see what you're saying.
So, we'll see what happens. If it's, if he can't play through it, then obviously it is irrelevant.
I mean, I hope he can play through it, and I hope that he's good. Like, I hate to see when guys get big contracts like that and then instantly,
I mean, he's fun as hell to watch.
Go down.
But, yeah. So that was the biggest injury of the week, obviously. Some other ones: Kevin Kiermaier in Tampa Bay got sent to the IL with a leg injury. I mean, that's a big loss for Tampa. Kiermaier's really good, but it didn't seem serious when I was reading about it. So, George Springer is a big one, who was already on the IL with an oblique strain, and then he was running the bases, and he strained his quad running the bases, like just working out. So that sucks for Toronto because that was like their big signing of the offseason.
What is up with all of these, not just in baseball, all over sports? Like, do these teams need to invest in maybe a little bit better, what would you call them? Drawing a blank on what like their position would be, but it's the people that run their trainer. Yeah, I guess they were trainers.
Yeah. I mean, football made sense because they had no off season and guys were coming in cold. And
I guess it's true.
The games,
but it's happening a lot in basketball. From the injury list that we have, there's a lot of people getting hurt, and it's not just this year; it's over the last couple years.
Yeah. To be fair, too, these are just like the big name injuries. Like, there's a lot of other injuries that I'm like, I don't even know who that guy is. I'm not putting that on here. But yeah, I don't know. Now, also to be fair, Kiermaier, Springer, Josh Donaldson are all on the IL all the time, so
That's fair.
they are like prone to injury. So Tim Anderson is another guy gets hurt a lot. With Chicago, got put on with a hamstring. That's a big loss for them. He's one of their best players. Max Fried, I actually meant to look up more to see what happened if he's like seriously hurt, but pitcher for Atlanta got pulled on Wednesday after he got hit by a comebacker, which is always scary as shit. But he's a really good starter, so sounds like he's okay actually. So, but I think I could be wrong, but he's like one of their top starters on a team that is thought to be vying for a World Series. So, yeah, that could have been a big loss, but yeah, it looks like it's not going to be a big deal. They just took him out for precautions.
It's probably smart, especially if he's.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it. I don't know
guy.
when in the game it was, and like if it was like the 5th or 6th inning and you pulled him out, like you were probably going to pull him out soon anyway. Trevor Rosenthal in Oakland is on the IL with shoulder inflammation. Apparently, he's thinking about surgery, which would put him out for, I think it's at 3 to 4 months.
It wouldn't surprise me if he just gets that surgery and works on coming back.
It's a big loss for them, though.
Every loss for Oakland is a big loss.
Oh, okay.
The way they build their team.
Yeah, that's fair. Ketel Marte in Arizona. That's a way bigger loss than Nick Ahmed.
Yeah.
He was like literally carried off the field by the trainers on Wednesday. He was leading the NL in average hits and doubles.
Did you see what happened?
I didn't.
I mean, we don't have to look it up. I just was curious if you actually like saw what happened.
He is on the IL now. Right hamstring while running to first base. Grabbed his hamstring while running to first base after hitting a grounder.
Okay, so but if he had to be carted off,
carried off,
or carried off, that
same thing. But
usually when I see people get carried and carted off, that leads me to bleed tears.
Yeah.
If they're pulls, they're usually like helped off, but they usually go under their own power. When you tear something, that's when you just fall down and you're just like, just get me off.
Yeah.
I know that because I tore my quad in high school playing ball.
Yeah, that's not fun.
And I was out for quite a while. I was actually stealing second after bunting with a bad quad. A bunt got on
over there,
and then I stole second, and then I was on second leading off, and I got picked off. And I went to put my pressure on to get back to the base and literally just collapsed.
Yeah.
Like my leg just stopped working.
Yeah. It sucks. Yeah. Tearing stuff not good. Speaking of being carted off though, big loss for LA Angels is Dexter Fowler today. This happened today.
Oh, I didn't even see that today.
He got carted off the field with it was like bases loaded. He was on first and there was a ground ball. He was running to second and they threw to second and he like put his foot on the base and just collapsed. Like exactly what you were just saying.
Oof.
And nobody touched it. Like there was a small, tiny, like him and the second baseman's like legs touched, but it wasn't like contact. It was like they rubbed next to each other and he just crumpled.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, they brought the cart out and carted him off the field, and it did not look good.
Yeah,
Like he
again,
was in a
when
lot
you
of
get
pain.
carted off, almost always leads me to believe tears. It's not always
Yeah.
what happens, but that's always my first thought.
I mean, there you can get like some high ankle sprains or something where it hurts so bad that you think you tore or broke something. But yeah,
That's fair.
it's this one looked really bad.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, that's a big loss for them as they're trying to not miss the playoffs again with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani.
I just don't understand. Like, okay, to be real for a minute, I don't understand why Mike Trout resigned in LA.
I don't either.
Like, I just don't get it. Like, I
The
mean, maybe
only thing I can think is that the front office went to him and was like, "Hey, we want you here. Once Pujols' contract is gone, we're gonna go after everybody.
Yeah,
We're gonna get so many free agents in here with that Pujols money, but you need to be here for another 10 years before we can do that because we're idiots and signed Pujols to a 15-year contract."
I don't know, like that. I just didn't get it and it's not that the Angels are necessarily like a terrible franchise. Like they're in LA, good market. They just can't put it together. And if you're as good as he is, why would you want to be on a team that cannot put it together for you?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. And that's honestly what I said was kind of a joke, but it also kind of seems like the only logical thing that they could have said to him to keep him there.
Yeah, as soon as he's gone, we're going to go get anybody and everybody on the market.
Yeah. That's the only thing I can think, literally. But yeah, I mean, good for them for keeping him.
Right?
I don't know how they did it, but
I mean, yeah, kudos to them for keeping the best player in baseball on their team, but
right.
It's one of those, I just don't understand from his perspective why you would stay in a scenario that just can't. Like, you're showing that you're doing your job and they're just not doing theirs.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And I think Pujols' contract is up after this season, so we'll see what happens. It's either this year or next year. So we'll see what happens after that. But then we had a couple big injuries to the Dodgers.
Yes.
Did you see the Cody Bellinger play?
I did not.
It was basically like a grounder to first, and him and the pitcher both got to the bag at the same time. Pitcher was catching the ball, and like he went to go step on the bag and like stepped right on his calf with his spikes. So I think that happened on Tuesday or Wednesday.
So I like Cody Bellinger.
And I like a lot of the Dodgers players individually.
I just don't like the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So anything that hurts the Dodgers, I'm happy about, but I'm not happy that like young, really good players are getting hurt.
Yeah. And then the other big one to LA is Mookie Betts. He's not on the IL, but he's missed the last 3 games with back stiffness. So,
which means he'll be back here pretty soon, probably.
Yeah, I think they were saying he might play on Sunday, but we'll see what happens. And then the last big injury is Aaron Judge. Also has missed the last 3 days with side soreness, but also no IL for him. So, I don't know. No, again, Aaron Judge is on the IL a lot. So
I feel like he is. It's like the Yankees. So the Yankees got Aaron Judge, or they have Aaron Judge, and then they got Stanton. And I'm like, why do you want both those guys? Yeah, they can hit home runs, but they always seem like they're hurt.
Because when one's hurt, the other one can play, and then that guy gets hurt, and the other one can come back.
But I mean, like, that was like when that first happened, that was like my first thought was like, okay, they're both almost always hurt. There was
My
talks
first thought
of
was
Stanton going to the Giants, and I was like, hell no, do not pay that man. Like,
yeah.
yes, he's fun to watch when he's healthy and he's right in the head and right on the field, but oh man, I would not want him in a Giants uniform personally.
He'd fit in very well with all their old injured players that they overpaid for.
Hey, a lot of those contracts are coming off the books in between next year and the year after. The Giants about to be good again in 2023.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, go for it. Why
I mean,
not?
they're not looking too bad this year, honestly. I was really a downer before the season started, but they beat the Padres 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Which it's still early and you can't take a ton into it. But
I was going to say, we did kind of talk about that in our predictions that, you thought the Padres would take a little time to gel. So that's why you picked them to come in second in that division. So it makes sense that they wouldn't start off super hot, especially losing Tatis.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I just don't like seeing so many young players hurt.
Yeah, of course. I mean, then again, I was actually amazed to see Aaron Judge is like 29, Mookie Betts is like 28. Like, they're young, but they're veterans now.
That's true.
Judge has been in the league like 5 years now, something like that.
That sounds about right.
He won, yeah, this is his 5th year, I think, because he won Rookie of the Year in 2016.
That sounds right.
So, but yeah, that's all for the big injuries. Surprisingly to me, there was 2 pretty big trades, which is insane the first week of the season. Orlando Arcia was sent from Milwaukee to Atlanta for 2 relief pitchers that I had never heard of. Arcia's pretty solid.
That's pretty good.
And then Rougned Odor got sent from Texas to the Yankees for 2 minor leaguers. Odor is a decent player, but like Odor is always going to be known for beating the shit out of Jose Bautista.
That's literally like I was just about to say. The only reason people really know who Odor is because he punched Bautista straight in the face.
Dude, I literally just said earlier this episode that baseball fights are dumb as shit because nothing happens.
That's one was the
only exception.
That was awesome. I mean,
that was a legitimate punch to the face.
Honestly, if you go back to the 90s and 80s, baseball fights weren't as ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm talking about
even early 2000s. You got some really good heaters, but yeah, in the last decade or so, baseball fights are just puffing chests out and.
Yeah, the funniest part about that fight is that Jose Bautista was expecting the usual baseball fight and went to go put his arms up to push him, and Odor just comes straight to the side of his face. It was so funny.
Man. When there's a good baseball fight, you definitely know it and you never forget it, and that is one of them.
It was really good. That was it for trades, but 2 pretty big trades. I mean, Odor is not a bad player.
No, I'm not saying he's bad.
He's like a 275 hitter and hits 20 to 25 homers.
He's easily an above average player.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him in all-star or superstar, but he's definitely an above average player. He's not someone that would get lost in the shuffle on most teams.
Yeah. And I'd have to look to it who the Yankees had at third base. But yeah, they obviously didn't have anyone too great because although I guess if you can upgrade, you upgrade. But
yeah, that's true.
They're wait, is he a shortstop or a third baseman?
I thought he was shortstop.
He is
I thought he was middle infield.
Baseman?
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought he was middle infield.
So they had DJ LeMahieu, who's not bad. Actually, now I'm really confused.
Wait, why would
They
you?
get him as a utility infielder?
Who do the Yankees have at short right now?
Gleyber Torres, who's also not bad.
Okay, that's a
They
weird.
just get him as a utility. Now I'm really confused by the trade.
So
I didn't
what
really
would you
look it
do
up.
with him in their situation? Like, I'm trying to think of what they would use him for.
I guess utility infield, just as
But
a bench player.
yeah, but he's better than a bench player.
Okay, Gio Urshela, who's pretty solid, former Indian, because we're the minor league system for the rest of baseball. Uh, is pretty damn good, but he is injured currently. So maybe they're gonna put him at second and LeMahieu at third. I'm kind of confused because like the current depth chart, which is actually on Yankees.com, doesn't have Odor on it. You would think they would, I don't know, update it.
It's the Yankees. They're like, yeah, you know what we're doing. We're the Yankees.
But it's their website. Like,
yeah, it's not like an MLB website. It's their actual website.
So I think that is what's happening right now. He's playing second, and Torres is playing.
You mean LeMahieu is playing third?
Or I'm sorry, yeah, LeMahieu is playing third, and Odor is playing second. But on the depth chart, it shows him as their backup infielder.
Okay.
So they're just bringing him off the bench. They're just doing what the Yankees do and just buying people.
I mean, I've always hated big market franchises like that could just go out and be like, we've got the money. We don't mind spending it. Fuck it. Let's just build a God squad where our bench players are better than your starters. And then I realized that my teams were willing to do that. And then I was like, I mean, if you got the money, spend it. Do you, boo-boo.
But not on the extent that the Yankees do it.
I mean, for a while, like we were talking a couple weeks ago, the Giants were top 3 payroll in all of baseball.
True, but a lot of their guys were like, from their own farm system.
That's fair. Over half the team was actually like brought up in San Francisco. Like they started in San Francisco. They just happened to get extremely lucky with their well, I can't even say that. Maybe they had some good eyes on some of the younger talent.
Good scouting.
Yeah.
But
then they paid them lots of money.
Right. Might have overpaid a little bit.
We got 3 World Series. They didn't overpay. It just leaves us in a really bad spot after.
A lot of those guys got contracts after the World Series, and then they didn't win anymore.
Well, no, I don't think any of them have gotten massive contracts since 2015.
Okay.
I'm sure there was maybe a couple here and there, but not a ton. Most of the big contracts were made between like their first championship in 2010 and then their last one in 2014. That's kind of how that worked out.
Okay, that makes sense then.
But they were like those long 5-6 year deals that go way past.
That's how it usually happens. But So anyway, that does it for trades. Again, I'm amazed that there were 2 like bigger name players traded this early in the year, but especially like Milwaukee is not good, but like they have a chance to win the division.
It makes sense though why Atlanta's trying to go for.
Yes, of course.
So like I get it from the Atlanta standpoint.
Yeah, Atlanta and New York getting players makes sense. Texas getting rid of players makes sense, but Milwaukee getting rid of a good player doesn't make as much sense to me. But anyway. So now it's just some fun stories that happened or interesting stories that happened this week. The Twins and Brewers were playing each other on last Saturday, and they both had no hitters going into the 6th inning, which is crazy.
So those are the kind of games that are really boring but really exciting to me at the same time.
Yeah, those are the games that baseball hates, but the like hardcore fans love.
Yeah, like because anything could happen at any moment. Someone could lose a no hitter. Someone could, even better, you could see one of the no hitters actually go. I don't know. I personally, especially watching both sides, when it's it's a boring game for anybody who's not a big fan. You're right, and I'm sure baseball detests them, like you said. But
unless the no-hitter happens, then baseball loves it because everybody talks about it.
But see, I don't even know at that point if they do, because that's a no-action game on at least one side of you know what I mean?
True. Their ratings are probably terrible, but people are talking about baseball at the end of the day because of it.
That's true.
So it's, I don't know. But yeah, so the Brewers lost theirs in the 6th. The Twins got a hit, and then the Twins took theirs all the way into the 8th inning before Milwaukee got a hit. So I think the Twins ended up winning the game 1-0 or 2-0. But really cool. I can't remember the last time that two teams facing each other took no hitters into a deep part of the game. So I thought it was cool.
I've seen a few of those.
Yeah, I'm sure it's happened. I just personally can't remember the last time. But.
Well, the Giants were based around pitching for the better part of a decade, so it happened, and their offense wasn't very good. So I saw it happen at least a few times a year, where we'd get into the 5th or 6th inning, and the other team would get into the 6th inning. I always liked them, but I get why someone who's not a fan wouldn't like it, because it's not exciting. There's nothing going on. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Just an interesting thing. Just to mention it, the Nationals and Mets both obviously missed their first series against each other because of COVID, and so they both started their season on Tuesday.
Okay. Now, speaking of the Mets, I know you haven't heard this because we talked before. Yeah. I want to play this clip for you of I believe it was the first home run for the Mets this year.
Okay.
And it is sheer gold. I want your reaction to it. Let me know if it's too quiet. Play.
There's Dom Smith, who struck out in his first at bat of the season.
Can you hear it all right?
I can't hear it at all.
You should be able to. Check, make sure my routing's good. System. Here, I'm just going to put the broadcast mix. You should hear it.
What is that?
You hear it now?
There's Dom Smith, who struck out in his first.
What? Oh my God, dude. How can you not hear it? It should be playing.
You want to just send me a link? I'll listen to it. And then you can play it for the...
Okay.
You can play it for anybody listening?
Yeah, I'll play it. Because it is literally sheer gold. You'll have to go down to where the little Twitter is on. I'm sorry, guys. Our cameras are going to get messed up for a second. But we will be back.
High quality production here.
Yep. We will get back.
Only the best.
Okay, we're back. So listen to that clip. I'm going to play it for everybody else so they can hear it. This to me was just sheer gold.
The SNY Twitter?
Yeah. Check that. Watch that video.
Okay.
All right, now let me get back to where I can see if this is playing through.
Dom Smith, who struck out in his first at bat of the season. What is that sound?
That's me. Sorry.
Was that you?
Yes.
I thought that was coming from the ballpark. I was thinking, what is that?
I had the. Don't go there.
Don't go where?
I got a slight emergency at home. That's what it is.
Everything outside you okay?
Yeah, everything's fine, but I thought I had the iPad turned off. Obviously, I didn't.
Hold on, it's still playing for them.
It's still playing for me.
It's something serious.
Can we help in any way?
Someone was supposed to feed my cat, and she hasn't fed the cat in a while, and she used the wrong key, and it's jammed in the door. and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get in my house tonight.
No, wait a second. Dom lifts one out to left. Hit pretty well. Back goes Joyce near the wall. It's out of here. Dom Smith with the Mets' first home run of the season. An opposite field 2-run shot.
Wait, I want to go back to the beginning and see what the score of this game was, because it's 2-1 in the fifth inning. How did they already run out of things to talk about?
Well, no, it wasn't that they ran out of things to talk about. His phone rang.
Oh.
Like, if you listen, that chiming in the beginning is his phone ringing. It's Keith Hernandez's phone. He didn't put it on silent or vibrate, so it rings, and they're like, what the hell is that sound? And he's like, oh, that's me. And that's when he starts talking about not feeding his cat. And this was part of the live broadcast.
This seems like something they could have just waited and talked about between innings.
Well, I think because it happened just his phone actually rang. I think that's why he was like, what is going on?
That's funny.
I can't believe, you want to talk about professional? They're on a national broadcast. He's got his phone going.
Yeah, that's not even a local broadcast. That was the national.
Yeah, no, that was a national broadcast for that game.
That's crazy. That's really funny.
That was the funniest thing I heard from baseball all week.
That's a good one. I am surprised I didn't see that. You're right.
I think it happened yesterday.
Okay. I guess I usually look at MLB.com for the news things that we're talking about, so I guess that wouldn't really be on there.
To be fair, the only reason I heard it was because it came up on one of the radio stations I was listening to, and I was like, oh, I gotta get Sports' thoughts on that.
That's really funny. I'm for it, though. Go ahead and talk about shit. I don't care.
I mean, it's the Mets. Who cares anyway? Right?
I mean, okay. Fair, usually, except that they're not the Mets. They're not those Mets anymore.
Okay.
Or they shouldn't be anyway. I don't know. Maybe
apparently the broadcasters are still kind of treating them like they are.
Apparently. They need to get some new broadcasters.
The sad part is
still on there.
The sad part is those guys are actually very, very good.
Yeah.
It just is a funny one of those, what are you gonna do? It happened, you just gotta roll with it at that point.
Yeah.
But the fact that it rolled right into the home run, their first home run of the season, that's forever. Just
that was a good one. Yeah. Wow. That's really funny.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that one.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was worth the technical difficulties. But yeah. So yeah, both those teams are 3 games behind in the season as far as games played. So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to make those up yet, if they have a plan or I haven't heard anything, but I didn't really look either, to be fair. Next news story, the benches clear in the Reds and Cardinals game. So you said
So I watched the clip of this. I don't know exactly what happened, but the reason that the benches cleared was Castellanos, however you say his name. I'm really terrible with names. Castellanos. The reason the benches actually cleared was because he came in and scored, and then got up and flexed and was in right the catcher's face. Yeah. So obviously, who is the Cardinals catcher?
Yanni.
You think he's going to take that shit?
Of course not.
Hell no. So that's how it started. I think, there was something else that had happened obviously prior, which is why he was so stoked on getting in.
I'm pretty positive on his hit to get on base. They threw up and in on him a couple times, and he was yelling at the pitcher or something.
Maybe that's
I
what
can't
it was.
remember. There was something before it where he was already upset.
Yeah, he was already kind of amped, and and he comes into home and he's just like flexing on Yachty, and that's what causes the bench to clear. But you know what's funny about that is Castellanos, after the game, was doing an interview.
I heard this.
He was like, Yachty could have punched me in the face. I still would have asked him for a signed jersey.
Yeah.
I was like,
the dude after the game was like, I didn't mean it toward Yachty. He's like, I love that
dude. He's like, I don't care. He could have punched me in the face. I still would have asked him for an autograph.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah.
But that shows you that, like, players take these, like, outbursts, bat flips, stuff like that so personally.
I know.
When it's like dumb. 90% of the time, it's not even meant personally.
Yeah. It's dumb. Granted, he shouldn't have done it. And he did get a 2-game suspension, which I think. Okay.
And how many suspensions did the Astros get for cheating? I'm just saying, we got a guy in LA
bringing it up.
that made a funny face and got 6 games. Castellanos got 2 for flexing on a catcher. How many did the actual cheaters get?
Fair.
I'll wait.
I mean, no, you're good. You're right. But no, it was really funny. The funniest part was he was like, I'm going to appeal the suspension. And I'm like, by the time your appeal goes through, you'll already have missed the 2 games.
But, okay, so the reason I think he's talking about appealing, though, is because he'll get his money back.
Yeah, it is. I know, but still.
And honestly, if I was him, I'd probably do the same. Like, you're going to miss the games, you're going to miss the games. Appealing, it's not going to change that. But at least if you can get your game checks back.
Fair. I understand that. I just think it's funny that, like, people appeal suspensions. And the MLB almost always, like, cuts the suspension in half. Like, almost every single time. I'm like, this is dumb. It's such a stupid setup. But yeah, anyway, that was I think the first brawl of the season.
Well, it wasn't even a brawl because they didn't even really get into it. Fight. Yeah, but the bench is cleared. I think the benches clearing is so.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Whatever these days.
There's actually video. I think John Boy Media did a breakdown of it, and it's funny because you can actually see Castellanos go up to, like, the pitcher after, like, the bench is cleared and was like, taps him on the chest and was like, my bad. He's like, I didn't mean to start all this.
I know, right?
But yeah, it was funny.
Well, I mean, you get your emotions running. Shit just happens.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not in a.
I mean, I've been in both situations playing baseball.
Yeah.
Where you're team that's getting super amped and then the team that's having someone totally be a dick to you.
I am a very, like, low-key, like, chill person, but, like, even when I played sports, like, I did something crazy, like, I'm gonna get up and, like, you know, fist pump and, like, yell. Like, it just happens. I'm not thinking about it. I just do it. Just an adrenaline thing.
This unwritten rule of baseball, a lot of these need to go away. Like, I'm a baseball kind of purist in a lot of ways, but I love the emotion.
Yeah.
I love, baseball wants to promote themselves and get more people to watch. Let these guys have fun. Let them backflip. Let them flex on a catcher. Because it doesn't hurt anybody.
That's what the NFL learned, right? Like, the NFL, 5-6 years ago was like no touchdown celebrations at all. And all the fans were like, that's fucking dumb. Like, let the people have fun. They're playing a game. Like, and they brought it back because the fans were like, this is stupid. Nobody wants to see these guys be all, like, stone-faced after they score a crazy touchdown.
Like that whole pretend like you've been there before. Like, get out of here with that bullshit. Have fun. Yeah. If it's your first time, fucking let people know it's your first time. If it's your 100th time and you're excited, let people know.
So, again, this is the second or third time I've mentioned him, and I've mentioned him almost every other episode, but, like, if you aren't following John Boy Media on YouTube, go follow him if you like baseball or sports in general, because he does other stuff. He basically breaks down plays that are cool and breaks them down in a funny way. Really entertaining.
Yeah, he
But-
really is.
So like this didn't happen this year. This happened last year, but because we're on unwritten rules, he did a video breaking down Fernando Tatis at a Grand Slam last year.
Oh, that was the one that he got hosed for, and
Yeah.
I don't.
And it was a 3-0 pitch. They were up like 5 runs, and he swings at a 3-0 pitch and cranks it over the wall. It was like a 450-foot Grand Slam. And he's like pumped, he's celebrating, and then like the bench is cleared when he touched home plate. And one of the guys on the Padres on his team was like, I'll talk to him, don't worry. And he goes over, and apparently he was talking to him because they were up by a certain amount of runs, and he swung at a 3-0 pitch. And it's like, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like,
So,
he
like-
got a pitch down the middle, and he's not supposed to swing at it with the bases. Like, he's paid to do that.
Okay, so I get what they're saying to an extent. Like if it's 12-0 and you're trying to hit a grand slam, maybe you're getting a little greedy. But at the same time, like from a player's perspective, like you're paid to go produce. If the other team can't stop you, that's not your problem.
Yeah. Okay. Counterpoint. The that game, because he actually went on to go further into the game. I forget who they were playing now, but that Grand Slam put them up like 9, and they only won by like 3. Like the other team came back, and it's like, just because I'm up, I'm not supposed to keep putting runs on, because like you're not going to stop trying to come back, so why should I stop trying to add runs?
No, and I get that.
It's
Like,
just-
but I'm
it's-
just
it's a-
like there does hit a point where
Yeah,
it's
no,
a
I
bit
understand.
much. But
I understand not piling on. I get that. But like at the same
When it-
time,
when it's only like 5-0, that's, as he
Yeah.
showed, that could be one swing away from being a one-run game.
right. It's I don't know.
I don't know. Baseball's
We've
unwritten
talked-
rules, I think, are just, a lot
Yeah,
of them are antiquated at this point.
We've talked about how stupid baseball is as far as a lot of the things that like the average fan doesn't know necessarily. And like it's stuff like that like turns people off of baseball. Where it's like the guy hit a grand slam, he's pumped, and then his own teammates are like putting him down in the dugout. It's like, be happy for the fucking guy. Like, this is what people want to see.
Well, and how
I
many
don't know.
opportunities do you get at hitting a grand slam?
Right. Yeah, that's
Like, that is not a common thing.
Mhm.
You, as a player, you maybe get maybe a handful of those a year, unless your team is like incredibly good.
Yeah.
Like the average player probably only gets maybe 4 shots at getting a
Yeah.
grand slam a year out of like 500, 3 to 500 plate appearances. They get 4 or 5 maybe a year. I can't imagine it's much more than that for the average team.
No.
So
I would guess
mean,
as a team, you probably get the bases loaded once every 3 games, 4 games.
that's what I'm saying. And for
No,
you to be
I agree. I'm agreeing with you.
yeah, for you to be the one up when that happens, like, of course you're gonna go for it. I would go for it. If you didn't go for it, I would feel like you're just hurting yourself.
Well, not to mention, like a lot of players have stuff in their contracts about like batting average or home runs per season. Like if you hit a certain number, you get a bonus. So like by these stupid antiquated rules, like you're taking away money from people essentially.
Yeah,
like potentially.
That's actually a fair point. I never really looked at it that way, as from the incentives
Oh,
perspective.
there's a lot of contracts that have incentives. baked
Oh no,
into
no,
them.
I that doesn't surprise me, but I
Yeah.
never really just like I didn't think about it from that way.
Yeah. Like I mean, I would say, based on what I've heard, like probably about 70, 75% of contracts have some sort of incentive based thing, even if it's like a guy that's super injury prone and his incentive is like play a certain number of games in the season or something. Like there's incentives for everything, but
Well, yeah.
and then there's, people get a bonus if they make the all-star team and get into the playoffs. They make more money because they're playing more games and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. It's dumb. I hate it so much. But
That's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll move on. That was a big tangent, but
that happens.
Unwritten rules can be very dumb sometimes. They just are. So we missed this one last week because it didn't really come out on opening day. Nobody was really saying anything about it, but apparently on opening day, Houston was in Oakland, and Oakland played, when they were introducing the Houston starting lineup, they played the song by Carrie Underwood called Before He Cheats, which is just great. I love every part of it.
The pettiness.
I love it so
we've
much.
talked about this, I think almost every episode. I love it. Like,
I love it.
At some point, it's going to have to stop. Like, people are going to have to get over
Disagree?
Yeah, at some point, people are going to have to get over it. Those players are going to be gone. Like,
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like,
as long as the players are there, or when they go to a different team, do it as their walk-up music when they come up to bat.
Yeah, like, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I know.
Like, at some point, like, it's funny. I love it. Trust me. I love seeing the pettiness.
I actually saw a really interesting thing that would be really cool is basically when you're introducing teams, just like the other team just always turn their back on the players who cheated. I'm for it. Just don't even show them. No respect.
See, but that's... I'm torn with that. I gotta say I'm torn with that. You're talking only to the players that cheated, right? Not like the whole team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I think the players who have joined that team since then would understand that too. Like, I think they would understand that you're not talking to those players.
My thing though is, like, they are still professional athletes. Like, they did still work exceptionally hard to get where they are.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a level of disrespect that, as a player, I would never forgive.
I disagree. I think the cheating is something I would never forgive.
I mean, personally, I probably would try and leave a team that was cheating if I had found that out.
Well, also true.
Personally.
Yeah.
But, because, I mean, like, if you were on that team and you didn't want to cheat, what are you going to say? Like, no, don't do that shit for me? Like, you can't really do that. You'd be the clubhouse pariah.
Yeah, I mean, without getting too far into it, like, I don't think everybody who was on that team was cheating either.
Well, I mean, technically with the sounds and everything, everybody was cheating, but I don't think everybody wanted to cheat. It's just, like I said.
I guess I'm talking more once they progress to, like, wearing the buzzers on their chest.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But anyway, I don't want to get too far into it. But yeah,
yes,
I just thought it was really funny.
I love the pettiness, and Oakland never disappoints when it comes to the pettiness.
Yeah. I love it. I love everything about that. So yeah, quick update. Last week we said that the All-Star game was being moved out of Atlanta. They announced it's going to be in Colorado this year. Cool. That's going to make a fun-ass home run derby.
I was just about to say I'm excited to watch the home run derby. I want Vlad to actually win it this year because, you know, he won last year.
I want to watch Vlad pop out 80 home runs.
Okay, can we just...
what, 60 something last year?
Can we admit that Vlad got cheated out of...
Of course.
Out of a home
Everyone
run.
knows it. I think the guy who won it said it was what, Jock Peterson?
Yeah, it was Jock Peterson.
I think he said after the home run derby in like the interview, he's like, that dude won it.
Like, he didn't
He was
deserve
like,
it.
He was like, I don't care. Like, that dude put on a freaking show.
Like, that was the most fun home run derby I think I've watched in
Oh yeah,
a decade. Well, maybe not quite a decade. What was the last one when oh god, I can see his face but I can't remember his name. It was in Texas. Hamilton. Yeah, Josh Hamilton. That was the last like big home run derby I remember from this last one.
Well, I think part of the problem with home run derby is that they change the formula up every single year. Like every year they change the way the rules work, and it's like they're trying to find something that works, but it also gets really confusing if you watch it every year and you're like, I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah, you're like, wait, isn't he supposed to stop hitting at this point? Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like I liked when they had they didn't used to have brackets, I think. They used to just have like everybody went up and then like the top 4 from the first round went into the next round.
No, I think they used to have brackets, but I think the way they tallied outs and time was different.
Well, originally they didn't used to have time. It was just outs.
Well, yeah. Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, now there's no outs. It's just timed. So.
Which I like more. Well,
yeah, I don't mind it.
From a spectating standpoint, as a casual fan, I like it more. But as when you look at it more from a baseball, like a diehard baseball fan perspective, I could see why you wouldn't like it, because you just keep swinging at everything. You don't have to worry, like, is it a good pitch? Am I gonna, you know what I mean?
I guess the exciting part is that you get to watch these guys mash home runs for like 5 minutes as opposed to like potentially they only have like 11 or 12 swings if they aren't doing great.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I can see both sides.
I'm for it. I like the way the home run derby works right now.
I personally, last year's home run derby was one of the funnest I've watched in a while. So I'm all for it.
So yeah, it'll be fun to watch these guys bomb out in Colorado. I don't know that the All-Star game will make any difference at all, but
okay. This is something that I want to actually go in depth on, but just out of sheer curiosity, do you like that they took away home field advantage from the All-Star game?
I don't know. I liked it because it gave a purpose to the All-Star game. Because like most All-Star games are like, honestly, I'm not that interested in the All-Star games when NBA or obviously no one gives a shit about the Pro Bowl for the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's watched anybody's cared about the Pro Bowl in decades.
I actually saw an awesome meme a couple of years ago. It was like an empty room, a picture of an empty room, and it says all the people watching the Pro Bowl this year. Like, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I like that it gave purpose. It gave like stakes to the All-Star game to make it worth, like, guys were playing hard. But I don't, it does suck for the team that wins like 115 games and doesn't get home field because a game they weren't in was lost by some random players on other teams. So like I can totally see both sides of it, and I'm honestly not sure where I fall on it.
See, I'm 100%, 1,000% against the fact that they took it away. $1,000,000%.
You liked it? Okay.
I loved it because, one, like you said, it gave them a reason to play.
Right. I totally love that part of it.
It made the game mean something besides just watching all the best players in the league play together.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like it had the potential to help smaller market teams in divisions where they wouldn't get as many wins as maybe a bigger market team, where they'd still get to the show, but maybe they're 5 or 10 games shy of what the win total would be because they couldn't load up like that team could.
That's fair. I never thought of it that way.
And when you think about it, if I'm not mistaken, I could be 100% wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm not, but I could be wrong. Every single team is represented in the All-Star game.
Yes, I believe that's correct. Everybody has to have at least one player.
At least one, even if they're just a substitute.
Right.
Like every team has
way down on the bench.
Yeah, every team has somebody there. So it's not like you didn't get it, like you had like nobody from your team played in it. And granted, I'm sure there are players where they made the All-Star team, but they didn't really play, and their team. But if they're, I don't know. There was something about having that game mean something. I tuned in to All-Star Weekend every year for baseball. Mm-hmm. The second they changed that, I'll watch the home run derby. I don't care about the All-Star game anymore, like at all. I don't care at all. Well, I don't want to watch the best players in the league play with or against each other because they don't care anymore.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, that's what the NFL runs into to an extent, is that players don't give a shit, and obviously the NFL is way more injury risk.
Well, it's the same with basketball, though. Like, I don't watch
basketball. See, okay, here's where I would disagree. Is basketball, I think, is probably the most entertaining of the All-Star games, just because, like, it's not a good game.
I wouldn't disagree with you on that point. It is the most entertaining.
There's no defense. People are just throwing alley-oops. Like, it's basically like a full game dunk contest.
Yeah, it's like a Harlem Globetrotters game.
Right, exactly. But baseball, you can't really do that. Like, there is no, like, there's no way to make the game more, like, I mean, obviously not a parallel, but like Globetrotters-esque. Like, it's just another baseball game.
Yeah, that's true.
The best players. So, like, yeah, adding the stakes made it more interesting to watch and had a reason to watch. But I do get the other side of it, where, like, if you're a team that wins 115 games and you go against a team that wins 95 in the World Series, and it's like, how do we not have home field here? Like, I get both sides of it, and I honestly don't know where I fall.
I don't know.
Like, it made the game 100% made the game more interesting. No question.
I liked it when it made it fun to watch. Now I could care less. Like, I'm not saying that the All-Star game is like terrible and you shouldn't watch it or anything like that. I'm just saying, for me personally, it doesn't mean anything, so I don't really care as much.
Yeah.
The only thing I tune in for is to watch people play together that otherwise probably never will in their careers.
I do wish baseball did like a skills competition.
That would be
basketball did.
That would be dope, but I don't know 100% how you would set that up.
I don't know. You have guys make like outfield throws into like a small little target for like an outfield thing, and then you have, I don't know. There would be a way to do it.
I'm sure there's a way. There's minds much better than me.
Essentially already that, right? Like, that is like the best home run hitters showing that skill off.
Yeah, there is an offensive version of it. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. It would be cool, but I agree. I don't know exactly what you would do for the skills competition, but it would be fun if they could figure something out.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't tune into that 100% because I think that would be dope. I just don't know how they would like structure it and like what kind of, because they'd basically just be running defensive drills essentially.
Yeah. True. But I mean, that's kind of what the NBA skills competition is.
To an extent.
You're throwing passes into targets and you're dribbling between, things. It's just drills, but
you're 100% right on that one.
It's a drills competition, which makes it interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. That one, you've got me on that one. I just don't know how they would structure it for baseball.
Right. Totally agree. I don't know how they would do it, but it would be interesting if they could figure out a way to do it. But anyway, we'll move on.
All right, while you talk about the Mets Marlins finish, I'm going to go grab another beer and I will be right back.
All right. So weird Mets Marlins game this week on Thursday, which would be yesterday. So the Mets, it was a tie game. The Mets were up, and I forget who was up now. I can probably find out very quickly. Anthony Bass was pitching for the Marlins, and Michael Conforto was up to bat. And there was a pitch. It was a strike. It was in the strike zone. But the batter leaned into the pitch, hits him on the elbow. The umpire goes to strike him out, like starts to do the motion and then points at first because it hit him. And it's like, it was a strike. It was inside the zone, but the guy was so far over the plate trying to get hit that it hit him in the strike zone. So the Mets win the game on a walk-off hit by pitch on a pitch that was in the strike zone. It was such a crazy ending. I can throw the link in chat for anybody who did not see it. But it's there's the link. So anybody who didn't see it, go check that out at some point. But yeah, it was a pitch inside the strike zone that hit him because he leaned so far into the pitch. And
so I think he should have been called out.
100%.
There is a rule in baseball where if you lean into a pitch,
right,
you are out.
Well, okay. So here's actually the rule.
Or is it a strike? I can't remember.
It's not that you can't lean into a pitch. It's that you have to try to avoid the pitch.
Well, leaning into the pitch would mean you're not trying to avoid it. So that would...
Well, right. Except that he said that he turned his elbow back a little bit.
Yeah, bullshit.
His argument? Yeah, 100%.
The problem with that is umpires don't... Like, that hasn't been a rule. I don't think anybody's been called for something like that ever.
Oh, no. It has. It happened a couple times last year, actually. I saw it.
Really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I can't remember a time when someone was called out for not getting out of the way or leaning into a pitch.
I would have to look it up and send it to you at some point.
Yeah, no, it's not that big.
100%. I saw it happen in a couple games last year. But yeah, John Boy actually, again, go check him out. Did a breakdown of this, and like, first off, Conforto is batting 170. So like he's had an awful start to the year. So like he's just trying to do anything he can to not swing the bat and get on base. But it was such a blatant thing. Like everybody called it, even the
umpires.
No, the Marlins manager instantly came out and was like, he leaned into the pitch. Like you can see him lean his elbow into the strike zone. And the umpire knew it because he started to call him, he started to strike him out. He started to do the motion.
Yeah, he started to ring him up.
Yeah. It was really bad. And I can't, I mean, there's no way that they can do anything about it now. It's not like you can. Well,
yeah, you can't retroactively change it, but maybe so I was a big hater of replay. I don't like replay in baseball personally. Yeah. I still don't like it, even with what they've done. But if you're going to have it, then they need to expand a little bit what can be reviewed. I don't want everything to be reviewable because then that hurts the game more than it helps. Right. But stuff like that should be reviewable.
So they actually asked him to review it, but it's not reviewable. No, it's not. If he leaned into the pitch. It's just reviewable on if it hit him. So they came back from the review and were like, yeah, it hit him. And the Marlins manager's like, that's not what I wanted you to review. Yeah. And the guy's like, I know, but we can't review that.
And this is an issue that football has at times with their review system, where you're like, oh, well, they should just review that. And they're like, no, you can't review that. You can review like spot of ball, but you can't review this.
Right.
And if you're going to allow the review in, just let things be able to be reviewed. They only get 2 a game. Whatever.
Yeah, it's really dumb. I don't understand it.
Because
I mean, I guess I get, like, so basically you're not allowed to review judgment calls, and that is a judgment call technically, but
it's not. Like, you can physically see somebody lean in over the plate. Like, that's not even a judgment call. That's like a verifiable thing. You can watch the video and go, yeah, he leaned over.
I agree with you. I think it should be reviewable, but they're not. As of now, they're not. Now, because of this one play, it might be reviewable in the future.
Hopefully,
like
something like that.
They might change it, but
I mean, because let's be real. How often are people going to review someone leaning into a pitch? They're going to save that review for, a steal, or they're going to save that review for a close play at a bag.
Right. It's only going to be like this, where it's like, to score a run, like bases loaded, hit by pitch.
Yeah. Or just to win the game. Like, if that didn't impact the game, they wouldn't have cared. But because it impacted the game, it's obviously an issue.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, it was blatant. It was a terrible call, and it's kind of embarrassing that they called it the way they did.
Agreed. I'm with you. I didn't see it, but I heard all about it, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and that would have been, I'm pretty positive that was like the 3rd out in the 9th inning. Like, that would have been the end of the game. Instead, it's the end of the game the other way.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I'm sorry, it wouldn't have been the end of the game because they were tied. But,
yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, it was bad. I wish there was a way they could go back to it, but moving on, Trevor Bauer had a couple baseballs pulled out of a game, and they're being tested by the MLB for foreign substance.
Anybody feeling the irony here?
Well, okay, hold on. To give him his fair due, him and the Dodgers manager Mattingly, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mattingly is still their manager.
We're both like, he's definitely being singled out by the media because of what he's said in the past. So apparently, there's pretty much almost every starting pitcher has had balls taken out of play to go be tested. So, like, the fact that he's the only one who's gotten, like, articles written about it is kind of one-sided.
Not really, though, when you're as outspoken as he has been about that particular thing, and then your balls are being pulled. Now, in the articles, maybe they say, hey, this is happening to a lot of guys, whatever, but it would be ironic if there came back something on those balls.
Okay, then 100% I agree with you then.
Yeah, I mean, do I think Trevor Bauer's cheating? Probably not. Trevor Bauer's nasty. I don't think he's doing anything really.
I don't think he would have gone so far out of his way to call out other people if he was cheating himself. Like, you don't call attention to it if you're doing it.
Well, I mean, psychologically they would say you would in some instances, but I think from a practicality standpoint, if you're not stupid, which Trevor Bauer I don't think is stupid, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's going to be anything, but I just think it's kind of funny. Like, if something did happen, could you imagine? Like, he would be a meme for baseball for years to come.
Yeah, 100%. It's, I don't know. And we did mention this in like the rules episode we were doing, that this was a rule they had added where they were going to pull balls out of play if there was anything suspicious at all and test the balls. But it is what it is. If it's true that it's happening to a lot of people and like a lot of balls are being pulled out of play, then like it's not a story really, and it's a little bit clickbaity. But if that's not true, and it's, you know, he's one of the few pitchers who've had it happen this year, then I mean, it makes sense. We'll just have to keep an eye on it and see.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know next week if anything happens between now and then.
Yeah. So last year, because of COVID and because of the fact that you couldn't travel across international borders, Toronto played all their games in Buffalo, which is where their AAA affiliate is at. Still their affiliate. Apparently, traveling between Canada and the US is still an issue, which I actually was not aware of, but it kind of makes sense.
I mean, that makes sense, but I wasn't aware of that either.
Yeah. So apparently they're playing their first 3 series in Toronto, their first 3 home series.
Okay.
And then who is he? The GM of their AAA team, which I didn't even know AAA teams had GMs. I thought the Major League GM covered everything.
Oh, really? Almost every level has its like GMs for their level.
But they have to just answer to the Major League guy, right?
Well,
like they can't trade somebody away.
if your big club guy goes, hey, we were pulling him up, like you can't say no. It's kind of like, have you coached at like high school level?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the varsity coach and the JV coach and the freshman coach.
Okay.
Like you all have your same coaches, but like if the varsity coach says, hey, I'm going to pull him up for this game, you can't really go, no, that's not happening.
But I'm saying, like, what is the point of the minor league GM? Because like he's not making trades.
No, but
like,
he's
not moving players up and down between systems. Like, what's he doing?
Well, I would honestly, I don't know for sure, but I would bet he pulls people up.
Okay. You think he's like controls the minor league up and down?
So, well, yeah, like I would bet that there is a stage where like the lower end, the AAA, the minor league system GM is controlling back and forth for the minor leagues, obviously with a lot of say from the big club.
Okay.
But day to day, can you really have a GM be in control of like 4 teams? Like just logistically, like thinking of that many players all the time, every day, like you got to have some kind of a middleman. And I would bet it's similar to like a varsity JV, like freshman scenario, where the freshman coach has no say. He just plays who he's got on his team.
Right. Of course.
The JV coach plays who he wants from the freshman team and the guys he's given from varsity that didn't make it. And the varsity coach basically can play whoever the fuck they want because they just say, hey, you're playing for me today.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, so he came out and said that the Buffalo Bisons are currently being relocated to Trenton, New Jersey, because the stadium is seeing renovations to make it playable for a major league stadium or for a major league games. Which basically means that Toronto is going to be playing in Buffalo again because of the travel restrictions between Canada and the US.
Okay.
So at least for the coming future, Toronto will be in Buffalo, it seems like. So, I don't know, just an interesting thing I saw today when I was scrolling through some stuff. They were there last year, like I said, so we'll see if they stay there or if anything goes back to Toronto or what happens. But
I mean, it makes sense if they're having issues with getting like across the border, just to have everyone.
Yeah, because it does say in the article that I was reading that like travel between the two countries is restricted to like essential personnel, which obviously baseball is not necessarily essential.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
So I guess they gave them like a short temporary window for the first month of the season or whatever, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be like a full season thing. So we'll see what happens. The next thing we had was the Rangers games at full capacity this week, which yeah, without getting too political or anything, those pictures scared the shit out of me.
Bro, I got anxiety looking at like watching the like clips of those guys. Like, and I'm not one that worries a lot.
Yeah.
I work for a school district. I'm fully vaccinated. Luckily, I've been very fortunate.
I actually just got my first shot.
I know, I saw that. That's awesome.
Good times. Yeah.
Everyone I work with is pretty much fully vaccinated. We still wear our masks at work, but like if I'm off by myself or if it's just me and one other person that's like a good distance away, even indoors, I'll take my mask off because we're all good. But that's not to say that I would go out in like a group of 40,000 people and go shoulder to shoulder with them without my mask.
Not to mention, like, almost none of the people there were wearing masks.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, I was watching and maybe scary. 1 out of every 10 people.
Yeah, it's scary. I want to get back to that point, to where we're back to normal and can do that, but it's very it does make you very anxious.
Well, and it's one of those that so the Giants, they're having 22% capacity, I think technically is what they have, or they're allowing right now. First game was today. I actually, if I can somehow snake it, I might get tickets for this weekend.
Well, maybe, I mean, especially if you're vaccinated.
Maybe next weekend. Well, that's what I was getting to. But the criteria to be able to even enter the stadium is you have to have proof of full vaccination.
Oh, wow.
Or proof of a negative COVID test in the last 72 hours.
Holy shit.
So if you don't have one of those two things, you're not getting in the stadium, period.
That's insane, actually. Like, most teams are just letting in a certain number and like
I feel pretty safe if I wanted to go to a game, and they're doing like pods. They're doing like 2 to 4 seats in a group at a time, and then there's like a good 6 or 10 feet of space between each group. So they're only letting in about, I think they said it was about about 6,000 fans. No, maybe a little less than 6,000. It's what, 40?
I don't know how big your stadium
is.
It's
41 20. Or 42,000.
Oh, then 20% would be like 9,000.
It's like 6 or something. It's somewhere in there, but it's not a ton. There's plenty of space between, and I would feel pretty safe going to a game. Right. Now, I would not feel safe if, even though I am vaccinated, going to a fully packed stadium.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for myself, but for anybody that I deal with and come in contact with after that.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if there's any fallout from this.
Like any super spreader things that happen.
But I mean, obviously I hope not for everybody who is there, but
I agree with you.
But yeah, it was I didn't want to get too far into it, but like, yeah, it was just seeing the pictures was like awesome. I'm glad, like, this is cool that it looks like, we're back to normal, but like we're not there yet.
No, so it's a little scary. Well, especially because from the sounds of it, there's no like anything to protect the people. Sometimes you got to protect stupid people from themselves, and Texas does not look like they're doing that.
No, so because I currently live in Texas now. It's the governor of Texas made it legal to go. You don't have to wear a mask anymore anywhere.
Oh,
You cannot be forced to wear a mask. But where I am in Austin, the city of Austin still has it mandatory. So I'm still good here, but yeah, it's scary going outside of this area.
okay. Yeah, I could see that.
But anyway, yeah, it was interesting to see the pictures.
I mean, like, trust me, I want to get back to that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I don't think we're there yet. And I love the way that the Giants are handling it. And a lot of other, I mean, the Giants aren't the only ones doing it like this. I think most of all California is doing it.
Almost every team in, I think all of baseball is around 20 to 25%. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully everybody's there by the end of the year, but safely.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, we're gonna finish our news with the feel-good story of baseball right now, which is Trey Mancini in Baltimore. Comes back this season after missing all of 2020 with stage 3 colon cancer. Apparently he's in full remission, like there's no cancer in his system. And yeah, he started all 3 games for Baltimore in their first series. I forget who they were playing. Boston, maybe?
I don't remember who they were playing. All I can remember is just watching him go on the field, and it made me feel good. And I'm not even a fan.
I don't know anything about Trey Mancini or who cares about Baltimore. They're terrible, but
their logo is cool though.
Fair. But yeah, he started all 3 games at first. He had 3 RBIs and a home run. Came out playing great. Like didn't look like he missed a step, but yeah, it's like there was might have been the Yankees manager. It was somebody's manager came out and said like just give him comeback player of the year now, because like there's nobody that's gonna beat this. It doesn't matter what you did last year.
Well,
like the comeback from cancer is,
and you know what? You know what I kind of compare it to? When Alex Smith came back in football. The fact that he was even on the field for a live snap was enough to make him comeback player of the year.
Exactly. The Indians literally had this last year. Yeah. The pitcher we traded to the Mets, Carlos Carrasco, had cancer and like missed all with like 3/4 of 2019 and like didn't even disclose why. They just said an undisclosed illness, and he didn't come out until like after the season and was like, yeah, this is what I've been dealing with. And he came back last year and pitched great. And I'm pretty sure he won comeback player of the year last year for it. But yeah, I mean it's great.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was before I heard his story when he came back, but I love seeing really stuff like this.
He lost. Did I write it in here? No. So he came up the same year as Aaron Judge.
Okay, and so 5 years ago.
He finished 3rd in voting for Rookie of the Year.
Oh, it's crazy.
Aaron Judge and now I'm not going to remember who it was. Guy from Boston, Benintendi, maybe?
That sounds right.
I'm going to look it up really quick to be sure, but I'm pretty positive that's what it was.
That sounds right, but
AL Rookie of the Year, Benintendi. Yeah, Aaron Judge won it, and then Benintendi and Mancini. And those 3 were like Aaron Judge won it by a mile, and then Benintendi and Mancini were both really good, and then there was nobody else after them. So yeah, he he's a really good player.
I hope he continues to ball.
goddamn Baltimore needs good players because they are bad.
Yeah.
Although I'm pretty sure they are like 4-1, 5-1 right now. I mean, I don't think it's gonna.
Early. You don't win the
Yeah.
season in the first week.
I don't think it's gonna stand, but yeah, they came out real good.
What's the adage? You can't win or what is it? Something like you can't win the season in April. I know we're not, but you can lose a season in April.
Yeah, something like that.
It's just,
I know what you're saying.
It's something like that. Like,
you know, what's really funny is I just for the first time I pulled up the standings. Our standings of the AL East are exactly the opposite as what we both picked.
really?
The Orioles and Red Sox are leading the division, then the Yankees, then the Rays, and then the Blue Jays are in last. I mean, again, none of the standings matter.
Yeah. I mean, we'll revisit
like,
the standings maybe in like a month in or something.
Right. Maybe at the All-Star break, we'll see how our predictions stand up. But yeah, it's just funny. But yeah, it's great, and anytime anybody can come back from something like this, obviously it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I hope he balls out this year.
Yeah.
I hope he has a killer year.
Yeah, I mean, he's started off real good, so yeah, right now he's actually he's not doing great. I take it back. He did really good in this first series. Apparently this second series he's not doing very good at all. He's batting 180. But still, I mean, again, you can't look at stats and standings and stuff in a week of the season.
Yeah,
you're just gonna overanalyze everything, which
I mean
is
that's what people do, right? Day to day.
To be fair, it's a lot of fun to do.
Well, it's like the whole on pace for 500 strikeouts for the season. Like you know.
Right. I mean, okay, so since we're talking about it, really quick, I just want to run through this.
I was just looking at it. Some of those are just absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, I just want to mention a couple because they're fun. So there's an article on MLB.com called on pace, crazy on pace stats for 2021. I'll link the article in the chat, but basically it's just like if the guys were to continue on this pace, what they would end the season with. So like Nick Castellanos, who just got suspended, is on pace for 107 home runs. Tyler Naquin, who again former Indian, is on pace for 108 home runs. The Reds are on pace for 378 home runs.
That's
which
insane.
Of course, because both of those guys are on the Reds, so like there's 215 right there between the two of them.
That's
it's just it's fun to look at. Nate Lowe, the guy that I mentioned in the hot, is on pace for 378 RBIs. This is a dumb one that didn't make sense to me, so I'm just gonna skip that. There are two guys putting Ricky Henderson on notice, but then it says they're only on pace for 81 stolen bases. So like that's still like 50 short of his record.
So, Ricky Henderson, like no one's ever
that record will never ever fall.
Ever. The baseball would have to make a Titanic level shift.
Yeah.
Back to the way ball was played in the 80s and 90s.
Even then, he was like a once in a lifetime talent at stealing bases.
I would disagree with that.
Really? Because there were people stealing bases then, and he blew them out of the water by like 15.
So he was a freak in what he did. Like he was insane. But I would argue that there are better and faster athletes these days that could, if the game made that like monumental shift that will never, I don't think, ever happen again.
No, of course not.
But if the game did shift back to the way it was played, I think because people are as freakish athletes as they are these days, I think it's possible. I'm not saying it would happen for sure, because Henderson in his own right was a freak.
Yeah.
But I think it's possible. Now, for all those stars to align for that to happen, I don't think it'll ever happen. I think that's an untouchable baseball record.
Yeah. The only other one of these on this page that I didn't mention in the like hot and cold section is Madison Bumgarner is on pace to give up the most earned runs in the history of baseball.
We were just talking about this last week.
Yeah, he's given up 11 earned runs in his first 2 starts. He's on pace for 187 earned runs.
He's just not the guy he used to be, and I haven't watched him this year, so I don't know if it's something's just going on with him and he's just in a funk, or if like he's just kind of declined to the point where it's time for him to hang him up.
No, I didn't see this one because it's not like a titled one, but Max Scherzer is on pace to give up 136 homers. The record is currently 50. Now, obviously, again, these won't happen, but it's just fun to look at. There was one other, I don't know if we want to go through this or not, but just like knee-jerk reactions to the beginning of the season. The deadened ball is working, apparently.
Not for the Giants. The Giants have more home runs in the first week of the season than I think they've had in the last like 5-10 years.
Right now, they're on pace for 2.4 home runs per game. Last season was almost 2.6. So, like, I don't know. Okay, so apparently it comes out to 13 fewer home runs per team per season, if that were to continue the whole year. But
let's hope not. The Giants can't afford to lose 13 home runs a year. That's like a quarter of their production for the year.
Fair.
No, like I joke about it, but the Giants didn't have a 20 home run hitter for like a decade. Last year was the first year that they had a 20 home run hitter since like fucking Barry Bonds. In 2008.
Run by committee.
No, they just didn't hit home runs. It just wasn't their thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to just scroll through these. They mentioned Yermin Mercedes, who we talked about. Cincinnati Reds are way better than everyone thought. The Oakland A's are the worst team in baseball right now. Scored 13 runs over 7 games. That's not great. Less than 2 runs a game.
That's not great at all.
The Astros are the team to beat in the AL. That sucks. Yeah, there aren't a lot on these.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Very good. I just kind of glanced at the first couple and it looked interesting, but anyway, yeah, everybody makes, knee-jerk early season reactions, and then things always kind of work themselves out over the full season, and it's not something to worry about, but it is interesting for sure to see where teams are a week in, but yeah, I think that's all we got this week.
I don't think there's really much else I wanted to cover this week.
All
right. So on that note, thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys coming in, watching, or listening. If you're watching on twitch.tv/bases and brews. We finally got rid of those dumb underscores. Thank God. That was dumb on my part.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah, then go check out our YouTube episodes. If you've missed anything else, this is our 5th episode. We're having a lot of fun. All of our past episodes are uploaded. This one will be uploaded to YouTube by Monday for sure. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to come in and kind of hang out with us, come and talk in chat, have some fun. We do respond in chat. Come on and join us at twitch.tv/bases and brews. We start every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Everyone have a great week, and we will catch you next week with another episode of Bases and Brews.
Later, everybody.
Have a good one.